welcome to, I think, our 12th episode for season 3 of On the Overrun, where we just chat about cars, but also regarding the people around the cars, people who make up the industry, people who are experienced and influenced in the industry and actually have some very cool stories to tell. There's actually much more than just the cars you see. Interesting today, if you are listening on Spotify, of course you won't be able to see the 3 model scale cars we have in front of us, but all 3 are Porsches, and this is very applicable today as we have the Porsche Club president, Lourens Bester, with us. So Lourens, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Cool.
It's always very cool meeting such influential people in the industry, people with stories and experience that far exceeds my knowledge and even years of existence. So it's very cool meeting you and excited for the conversation.
Influential, but yes, we're close.
I think your influence reaches further than mine. So in that regard, yeah, it would be more influential. So yeah, I think Lourens, we're just going to start and chat a bit about your history of cars and where did your passion start for cars?
The passion starts as a child. My father was involved with in the automotive industry with Volkswagen. It was Volkswagen those days. Many years ago. It was a lighty.
Yeah.
So we always had different cars, and he used to get car magazines. So you read car magazines and all that sort of, and all about racing. And you should take us to Killarney. Those days you sit on the side of the track. There was no barriers and things.
Yeah.
And so on. That was exciting stuff. But I never pursued the car.
Working in the industry.
In the industry as whatever. I went in a total different direction. I went into construction.
Okay, that's on the flip side.
Yeah, so I studied construction, building science and all that sort of stuff, which I didn't spend much time into because then sailing captured me. So I sailed around the world a few times and all over and became
that's very interesting.
A ship's captain. And so cars were a long way from my mind in those days. Anyway, through the years, and I came back to South Africa, stayed here, and then in 1997, the owner of Bloomsbury Investment Cars in Cape Town asked me to join them.
Okay.
And I wasn't too keen because I didn't want to go in the car industry because of my father was there and things like that. But look, I did.
Yeah.
Which was a great move.
Yeah.
Against my will, it turned out to be actually fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a fantastic opportunity because I immediately walked into the industry in 1990. It was 1st of April 1997. Never forget. Into an arena where you have Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Corvettes, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, Porsche, all the top marks. So in a real exotic market. So I didn't start selling little carriages.
Yeah.
So so that made it, and I fell into it, and I slotted into it perfectly, and and actually did quite well. And of course, coming from the background from Volkswagen, and the Porsche.
Yeah, related in many ways.
The Porsche bug sort of woke itself up.
Yeah. So when it came to your interest in cars, was your interest always in your higher end performance cars?
No, my interest was always, I think the interest was always in German cars.
Okay.
Yeah, mainly Volkswagen because we were involved as a family for 14, 15 years in that industry. And with that, obviously, your love for Porsche, the grown through the years and stuff like that. And, I just, in 1997, I started, I was just there with these Porsches standing on the floor. And of course, you got to have to have it. You got to have to. Yeah, you got to have to love it, and it was just a passion, a bug that reawakened itself, and then wham, here I am, boom, in the harness, in the nest. 64 cars. All different cars, and so you had a knowledge of a bit of the Ferraris and Lamborghinis in the old days. Sorry about this thing.
That's fine.
So, and then of course Porsche was a big thing, and because of that. So then I joined the Porsche Club in 1997, and in 1998, they voted me onto the committee. I'll never forget the committee meeting was at the 12 Apostles Hotel.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, never forget that, in the back room, like a back room thing. So I voted on the committee, and that was in 1998. And then my portfolio was motorsports.
Yeah.
All events, motoring events, and that kind of stuff. And I stayed in that committee until 2013, I think. Then I sort of called it a day, but stayed a member of the club.
Yes.
You're quite active because I also, through the years, started racing.
Yeah.
So, and then in 2018, I think it is, 2017, 18, I joined the committee again. And then 2020, January 2020, I was elected as president of the Porsche Club Cape.
On the brink of COVID era.
Exactly. I mean, it was like, how bad is my luck? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's
so.
The timing is really testing your leadership.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I remember our first committee meeting happened. The second meeting was, so Zoom just came out, so all Zoomed.
I remember.
And one of my committee members, he's quite clued up on this electronic sort of stuff. So, and that was quite weird, sitting at a dining room table with a glass of wine, looking at a screen, and then running a committee meeting.
Yeah.
With not much other to say than how much money we have, how many members we have, and because we couldn't do events,
Yeah.
In 2020, we were locked down bad.
Yeah.
So we sort of planned things and made dates. And I think our first three, then it was another Zoom, and then we started getting together again. And then, the roller coaster ride with COVID. But we did get some nice events in 2020 with the Porsche Club. We pride ourselves on the fact that our track days are normally superly well attended, and we have to cap it because you can't have too many cars. That's when all the guys come with their normal cars, no race cars. It's your street car, stands in your garage, and how often you get a chance to actually zoom around a racetrack with it in a safe environment with our marshals, and if you run off the black stuff, a little bit of gravel.
Yes.
Nothing gets hurt except your ego, You come back and you go like, did I do this? No, but you did it all wrong.
Yeah.
Do it again. And we have driver trainers, guys that race there, some youngsters who go out with the guys in their car, and if the owner of the car wants the driver trainer to drive his car and show him the lines, that's permissible, but it's normally as a passenger.
Yeah.
And that seems a lot of fun. So we did get in track days last year under strict regulations and masks and social distancing and sanitizers, I was like the guys saying their hands were getting more alcohol than they did. But I mean, like every club, you get some people in the club you get a group in your club that don't do the track day thing. They go in the garage.
Collect this car. They want to preserve it.
But that group will go to all the little social drives on the Sunday morning.
Yes, your
stop
rallies.
for lunch. So you get a certain crowd for that.
Yeah.
And then you get the petrol head speed crowds.
Yeah.
And so I think about 40% of our club, up to 50% of those gangsters.
Okay.
And then you get the group the other group in the club members that'll only come to the racetrack to the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Because at Killarney, which during COVID, as you just earlier said, I got kidnapped or hijacked. No racing, and whatever racing took place, no spectators. Killarney is not allowing any spectators, and the Porsche Club is the only club in the Southern Hemisphere with a clubhouse on a racetrack.
That's very interesting.
Porsche Club Cape. And we're one of two clubs in the world with a clubhouse on a racetrack.
That's very interesting.
Look, it's only Killarney. But it's a racetrack. And it actually says Killarney International Raceway. But it's on it's a fully licensed kitchen thing. And, people love coming there on a Saturday, watch racing, sit on the deck, talk shit, and they talk to each other. It's all about socializing. And that's a different group, again, they're interested in watching racing. And on the other side, again, we also have a lot of our members, including myself, and actually race at these and things like that. Either historics or sports and GT, which are the GT3 cars. And classics, historics is the old stuff. Old 911s or 944s or 924s. So it's quite active. So that has grown from 1997 exponentially. I mean, we started campaigning for members to start racing, that only started about 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Before that, there was no one from a Porsche club raced a Porsche. Are you mad?
Yeah.
You can't race these things. It's
Yeah.
Now you've got race cars out there, 2 million rand.
Yeah.
Just can't drive on the road.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a.
Now you can only drive on the track.
Only drive on the track. And if
Yeah.
you want it from your place to the racetrack, trailer it.
Yes.
Unlike my little car that I race now, is road legal. Well, road legal, it won't pass roadworthy, but
When it comes to, you joined the Porsche club in 97 or 98.
yeah.
What do you see as the biggest differences in the Porsche club then and now? Because you say there's a lot of people who just want to do the racing, and other people want to go on the more social, easy, comfortable drives, and some people just want to go to the clubhouse. But what was the Porsche club like then in comparison to now? What were the biggest changes?
Oh no, there was it's been a huge change. I mean, it's like that's the thing is, those days it was quite an elite thing.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went to the Porsche club, I was as a guest. Actually, before I joined.
Yes. Okay.
About 2-3 years before, I was a guest through a friend of mine. I think he was the manager of a Volkswagen dealership in Belleville or something like that. Whatever. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Arnie. His name was Arnie. And I had to wear a tie. I was a lighty. So
Yeah.
I sailed,
It's
man.
way too proper.
I got motor racing. You mad? Yeah. And those days you had to take your own cooler box. You know what I'm saying? So the clubhouse was just built and stuff like that, and you had to wear a tie and a jacket, sports jacket,
Yeah.
to go to motor racing to the Porsche club.
Yeah.
So, but through years that's all fallen away. But those days, too, a lot of people with the cars were also older and stuff like that. So you had a lot of people that came to social drives.
Yes.
Because every first Sunday of the month was a drive. We go and drive one oak. In the committee's East portfolio, obviously others help,
Yeah.
and we go for electric drives in the mountains, and we end up either Stellenbosch, lunch here, or Tilbach, or
Yeah.
wherever. That was hugely tended, because in those days there were never anything like track days.
Yes. Yeah.
There were no top-end runs. There were no gymkhanas. There were none of that nonsense. That sort of started popping his head out around about 2003, 2002, actually. A good friend of mine who's now passed, Bert Upton, the two of us sort of pushed this together. Because we also drank too much those days. And we come up with these ideas.
Oh, it's not much different these days.
Yeah. So we come up with the ideas. Let's do this. So, it was to change the old guard into doing these things.
Yeah.
It took time and shit like that. And as I said, by 2010, 2011, it turned so. We were at Sports and GT.
Yeah.
60-70% of the car, Porsche GT3s, GT3 RSs, cup cars. Guys are importing cup cars at huge cost to come and trundle around the racetrack.
Yeah.
And the passion I think the concept of owning a Porsche has changed tremendously from those days. Because since Porsche Centre, LSM Distributors, or as we know it, Porsche Centre, established as a full dealership in South Africa, Johannesburg, opened their first place in Tiger Valley, the Cape Town branch.
Okay.
So the whole Porsche was now easy to get. You could go and buy one,
Yeah.
And suddenly the used market suddenly became alive. Because prior to that, to get a Porsche, you have to know someone who knows someone who knows another dude to do this, and then it gets imported. Those years it was Lindsay Saker Motors in Johannesburg, and the Cape Town, there was a company called, I think my father actually was the dealer principal, Western Province Motor something.
Okay.
They were like the Porsche agents.
Yes.
But that was many years ago. And but anyway, since Porsche Toby Venter established the centres in South Africa, I think the whole concept of owning a Porsche has changed. Sure, there's quite a elitist to it, but it's also a passion turn. You want to drive that badge. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
And that changed the whole thing. The whole feeling about owning the cars changed in that time, early 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, with the new liquid-cooled Porsche, the 996.
Yeah.
And then the Boxsters that came in 97, 98, 99. The 996, 98, 99 came out. Huge fanfare, you know, big. So all the cars prior to that were all seriously sort of belonged to people who had like serious money.
Yes.
Because they were trying to say.
They knew people who knew people.
They knew people to know people to get a car. In those days, you import your own car. You know,
Yeah.
whether it's left or right-hand drive. There was no regulation against it. So it was a very elitist thing. Hence, going to a clubhouse watching motor racing
With a tie.
in a cooler box. You know what I'm saying? You know, how dumb is that? But that's the way it was.
Yeah.
That's the way it was. But the whole thing's changed. It's become more relaxed.
Yeah.
And it's become more passionate. You know,
Yeah.
and it's not a closed society anymore. You know, the Porsche Club is not used to be a closed society. You know, you sort of like, you don't talk to that oak.
Yeah.
No, he drives a Ferrari. Ooh, gosh.
Yeah. Oh, I can't say that.
No, you can't talk to this oak. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's changed. It's changed a lot. It's become more, I don't know, what's the word, liberal? It's like,
I guess.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's a passion. You know, you own it, you're a passion. So you get so you're still inside all that. You still get the group that's passionate.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you get the group that just buys the Porsche.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, because they're now affordable to buy.
Yeah.
You can go and buy a car.
That's the thing about Porsches is I feel if you compare them against the likes of Ferrari and Lamborghini and McLaren and such, Porsches are much more attainable because they have a much wider range of cars to get into.
Agreed. But also the other part is that since the modern Porsche came out in 98, 97, 98, 99, they're more user-friendly.
Yes.
Because if you think about the old cars, I mean...
It's finicky and it's...
No, it's not finicky. You know, you're after driving to the local cafe and back, you know, by the time you come back, your clutch leg is like expanded by an inch because of the hard clutch. And, you know, they had trashy gearboxes, good gearboxes, but, you know, you had to... They were driver's cars.
Yeah.
No, they were raw.
Very analog.
Yeah, and they were noisy.
Yeah.
The radio was purely just for show. You know, most of them never worked anyway. The aircons never worked.
Yeah.
Blew a lot of wind, you know, sort of every 2 months you have it regassed, lasts for 2 hours and it's gone. But they were great cars. They're strong. Until today, you look what happened to the market.
Yeah.
The
Now
bloody
Porsches
thing,
are
they worth a fortune.
skyrocketing.
They just went crazy. So, yeah, then the Porsche became a user-friendly car.
Oh, that's
you know,
right.
the advent with the Boxster. I mean, you know, it's a great little car. I mean, my wife is now on her third one. And
Yeah.
she's a tiny little person. And it's normal drive now. You know?
Yeah.
And so, yes, they became more user-friendly. And Porsche then made the user-friendly one, and they made it, and then get a bit going to the turbo, which is a little bit more, you know,
Yeah.
which gives you all the horses and all the fun with all-wheel drive, but also with a bit of style, class,
Yes.
and comfortable ride, and not that noisy engine in you can actually put the radio on if you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason you put your radio on is to make you to stop
Yeah.
your wife bitching at the speed you're doing. Anyway, and then of course you had the hardcore stuff, you know, the
GTs.
the GT3s
Yeah.
came out, you know, just takes the fillings out of your teeth when you go over a ant.
That's a good...
Yeah, and then of course, you know, the king of them all is the GT2, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, came out here in the early 2000s, 2002, I think, 2002. The GT2s came.
Yes, the 993
The
version.
99, no. The 993 was stopped at 1997, 98. This is now the 996 GT2s.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they called them the Widowmakers.
Yes.
Yeah. The few that are in the country, there's very few of those that hasn't had a bump.
Yeah.
If a little paint removed or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are vicious pieces of equipment. But so you have to know if you buy one of those, if you can get them nowadays, because the prices just skyrocket.
And it's very rare.
Yeah. And if there's one for sale, you know, you've got to dig deep
Yeah.
for a car that's going to stand in your garage.
Yeah.
But it's a serious piece of equipment, really. It's really, you know, I think they're great looking. Some people think they're looking. I think they're fantastic. To me, that's the last of real rawness, you know.
I spoke to a guy who owned the 996 GT3, the first generation,
Oh, gosh,
996
beautiful.
GT3. And but it was interesting because he sold his GT3 for a Ferrari California. And I asked him why would you do that?
Yeah.
In a very respectable way, of course, he's much older than I am.
Obviously, you must have a little dog that sit in the back seat.
He was only there with his child, so I didn't assume. But anyway, and I asked him why would you sell the GT3 for a California? GT3 is a much more, rare, and also, like, anyone would love a GT3 more if you're really passionate about cars. And he said that he was so scared to drive that car on weekends because the rear end would suddenly fishtail go out, not because of the car being uncontrollable, but maybe because of his skill being lacking.
Yeah.
And he said it was just like his driving ability is not up to scratch with what you need to be able to drive that car properly.
No, that's true. No, look, you've got to have your wits with you.
Yeah.
And don't go and play around in the wet with it, If it's wet, leave it at home, unless you know what you're doing. And we have we have quite a few guys in our club that actually race those GT3s, and a few of them, 2 or 3 of them I know that don't race them, but seriously knows how to pedal a GT3 around Killarney racetrack. Because that's where it counts.
Yeah.
Going from traffic light to traffic light, really, and revving up and making,
It's noise and
go and show off on a racetrack and show your skill, because it's about skill, taking it around the corners, or like you're going down the straight. Now you got to stop and go around the corner as quick as you can without making contact with the wall,
going on the
losing
gravel.
your ego, and show off that how bad you are. Because 9 times out of 10, the horsepower exceeds the ability.
Yes.
And that's where it is.
Yeah.
So you need to be humble and say, right, do the right things. But on the other side, if you want the excitement, you buy a turbo. It's all-wheel drive, huge horsepower, it's safe. It's got all the airbags and comfort. Air cons at work and doors.
And the driver aids. All those.
So that's that. So there's a huge. So that's changed through the years, and that's why around every corner, you'll see a Porsche.
Yeah.
And they diversified out, with the Macan, with the first Cayenne, 2005, 2006. They brought a little 3.6 litre out. Then it became the V8, which I've owned one of each already. Both great cars, great SUVs. Then, of course, now later years, they came out with a Macan, to capture that market, which I think they've done well. And they've kept the pricing in together with Mercedes-Benz, with the MLs, and BMWs with the X5s, and Audi, the Qs, and so on. And then, of course, challenged the market again with Macan, to the Q5 and the smaller. So it's a huge market, big business. I mean, I think the Macan and the Cayenne is currently, I think it must be Porsche's biggest movers, eh?
No, by far. I spoke to a guy who has quite a few Porsches recently, and he said that the one thing he does appreciate about the Macan and the Cayenne, even though they aren't, a 911 or such, is that the fact that saved the company. Like, when the time when the Cayenne was released by Porsche wasn't in the most amazing financial state, and the Cayenne actually it skyrocketed. People started buying this because it was SUV, comfortable, families could drive in it. It was a much more popular car. It sold a lot more numbers than your usual 911, and it actually caused the company to finance the coming GT3s and new models, and it actually saved the company in so many ways.
No, true. No. They did well for them. Then, of course, they brought out the 4-door Panamera.
Yes.
Following the coupe, like a coupe, 4-door coupe, following onto the Mercedes-Benz CLS range,
Yeah.
And then I think in Volkswagen with their coupe they brought out, which wasn't a success at all.
Oh yeah.
So the Panamera is still in play, even though it's quite. I think it's quite an exclusive car. It's expensive.
It's very expensive.
It's a beautiful car to drive.
Yeah.
Panamera, that big V8 is just.
And it's a luxury.
No. It's just like I can't say the word because it starts with F. It's like, it's like stuff you, my brother. I mean, it is such a cool car, and Yeah, the old ones weren't that good looking.
Yes, no, it was a bit of
bland,
a quiet taste.
I think it was like the first Cayenne also looked a bit bland.
And the first 996 with the eggs.
Looked bland. But I think they do that on purpose. They start with a shit-looking car, and then they make it better and better and better and better.
Yeah.
But, saying that, everybody didn't like the 996 because of the egg flings, but can try and find one to buy.
Yes.
You can't find one to buy for the love of money. And I'm in the business.
Yeah.
Like,
it's interesting.
Suddenly you can't find them. Go look for 996, 99, 2000, 2001, 996. Well, no. You can't find one for the love of money. And if you can get one, and the service history is up to date, the books are up to date, everything, what are you going to pay? 350,000 rand? That's a hell of a lot of car, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Because you can start taking it to a good tuner, like Wenzel Motorworks, and they put a few chips in,
Yeah.
a little packet of Lays, little Fritos over here.
Push the power up a bit.
And take those stupid catalytic converters out and put a proper exhaust on. Then you beef it up from 3.4 to 3.5 litre, boost the horsepower a bit. It's a hell of a nice car to drive. It's got a good gearbox because it's based on the G-Track gearboxes.
Yeah.
Great car.
And some people
and
also
amazing value for money.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can own a Porsche now for min geld.
And some people also, they, refurbish the seats, put new leather in, upgrade the radio.
Take the seats out and give it a good trim and say, make it nice. I want it like black in the middle and yellow on the outside and whatever. You can jazz it up.
It's the attainable weekend car.
You personalize it, as we call it. You make it your little car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you spend a few bob, and then for min geld you can have a car that is bespoke to yourself.
Yeah.
You paid $350 for it. Nice car.
It's a Porsche. $50. You can be proud of it.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And once it carries that badge, it's the real thing. I don't care what people say. Look, they are the diehards. Says, it must be air cooled. And they're air cooled, because that's the real thing. Because that's what he wanted. No, it's not what he wanted. He wanted to win.
Yeah.
He wanted the car that you can take from your garage, go to a racetrack and win.
Yeah.
And that's what you can do with these cars. They are built, because remember, the sports cars that were built for road, not the other way around. That's why when you buy them, you've already got that sports DNA. Sport DNA is there,
Yeah.
But it's toned down, so because they know that mommy can't drive like that. But then again, there's a lot of mommies that actually don't do well, that can drive.
Yeah.
So, unlike some of the other brands where they take a car and then they make it a sports car, that's really difficult because very expensive, very difficult, and you never really get the sports car DNA, the feeling of it. You get in the Porsche, you go for a little spin.
Yeah.
On a Sunday morning, you just take, whether you drive a 996 or 924, 944, whatever, 993, little SC, 3-liter SC from 1981.
Yeah.
And you hook it into the mountains, just yourself, no one else.
Special.
It's great, you know what I'm saying? You can think wherever you are, you want to be. You can,
Yeah.
If you want to be Ayrton Senna, you could also die, like you know what I'm saying. But the fact of the matter is, you can be where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because it's a great car. And then you go home and you put it away. And then in the afternoon, your wife wants to go and visit her mother. She can take the car and visit her mother.
Yeah.
That's what makes it such a fantastic motor car to drive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If you are in that league, in that financial league to buy the big number, the big ticket ones, good for you. I'm happy for you because then you're buying a proper car. Because you go to a track day at Killarney for the Porsche Club or normal track day, you can thrash shit out of it and go home.
Yeah.
Go to the club afterwards, have a beer or two, and then go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Monday morning you wash it and wipe it down and make it shiny, put the cover on. Boom, done deal.
Yeah. And then next weekend, same story again.
Next weekend you can do the same thing,
Yeah.
You must just be able just to buy tires,
Okay, so would you agree that the value of your less popular Porsches over the years actually increase because of these days, for instance, Porsche did very well with the 911, the 991 and the 992 versions, especially with your GT3 and GT3 RS variants. They are madly popular. And even because they're rare numbers, it sells out quite quickly, very much in demand. So do you think that because of the recent success of Porsche and the brand value increasing, that your other Porsches also increase in value because of it?
Yeah, to a point. But you're talking about GT3, so let's start with the modern classics, we call them. the modern classics will be your GT3 Mark 1 from 1999-2000. And if you're lucky enough to lay your hands on a very, very rare same year GT3 Club Sport, then you're a lucky lad. Their values have sort of stabilized at the moment. They went up. Look, they were brand new in 2000. They were new, 950,000 rand.
Yeah.
I still have the price list. I still have it with the option extras. And the Club Sport was 975,000 rand.
Yeah.
So, if you look at a good car now, most of those cars have been, guys who buy these cars, they don't go out in the street and trash them. So, the service book's just up to date. That's important. The quality of the car after all these years. Remember, it's now 20 years, eh? So their pricing went here in the middle, in the 2015, 2016, 2017 era, up to 18. They went to 1.5, 1.6 million. But then again, so did all the other limited editions.
Yeah.
So did your older cars, i.e. your 95, 96, 97, 993s. Skyrocketed from being 300, 400, 500,000, millions.
Yes.
So again, did the G series from 94 to 89, the 3.2 litres, clean cars, right-hand drive, especially right-hand drive, because I think South Africans are now got this thing against left-hand drive, which we can talk about that. And then so we go back to the SCs and to the Carrera, the 3 litre from 1976, and we can go to before that, when the G series start, then even before that to the 912s. And I'm talking cars now that are good cars. I mean, clean, not, there's a lot of shit out there, make no mistake, There's an Afrikaans saying, I'll try and translate it, shines over the top, you turn it over, it's rotten.
Yes.
So you see it looks, look, it's shiny, I'll buy it, And a lot of people have been caught, unfortunately, over the last 10 years with this sort of attitude. And purely because there are some dubious characters who suddenly crept out of the woodwork, becoming classic car experts.
Yes.
Experts.
Yeah, self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed experts, because he lost his job as a teacher or something. Coffee's lekker now. So, those prices, they went mad. Absolutely mad. I mean, you could, being in the trade.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a showroom in Pardon Island, and I could get a car in, make a phone call. I says, this is what I want. Can I think about it? I say, while you think, I'm going to phone another. Okay, I'll take it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how you sold those things. People went mad. It was like a frenzy. You don't understand. It's like the share market frenzy. Oaks just buying. It's like madness.
It's unbelievable.
It was madness. You can't believe, it's like putting, throwing some meat into the Amazon River, and you get all these piranhas going, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy.
Yeah.
I had a showroom, but it stood empty. I had 3 or 4, 5 cars in. I'd have a 996 Turbo there. I'd have a 996, or I'll have something, but prior to that.
Yeah.
Before it gets there, it's gone. I someone ship it. You ship it direct from the seller to the buyer. Take the money in the middle, pay everybody. Everybody takes something, go home, we all smile.
Yeah.
And however, from 2018, middle 2018 on, the world market, they want to call it a crash. I don't want to call it a crash. Nothing crashed. It's like a stock market. It's over full. So
fluctuates.
So it's got a bottom. It's got to say, right, enough's enough. So it's, okay, the stock market crashed. It's a readjustment.
Yeah.
Goes down and then slowly grows back up again over the next 10 years until you get there again.
Yeah.
That sort of cycle. We've seen it follows the same thing. And I think a lot of people, and I really feel sorry for them, and I really do, bought at the height
of
the frenzy, towards the end of the frenzy, and paid, humongous prices. Even
obscene amounts.
Even I, having been around for 20 years in this game, was like going, really? Those prices have settled down. But certain models, very limited, have maintained and hung in, like the 73 RS.
Okay.
That's clawing, and that's sort of it'll always claw up because it's very limited, very special. And then your limited number cars, like your 2004 GT3 RS, only made them in 1 year, 2004. You pay big money for the right car. However, the GT3 Mark 1, as we want to call it, from 1999 2000, that sort of settled down, around about $1,950,000, around there. And even then, you're going to battle to sell them, because if you look at that and then you say, hang on, for $1 million, I can buy a 991 or 992 Gen 1 GTS.
Which is a great car also.
A magnificent motor car.
Yeah.
No, absolutely magnificent motor car. With all the aids in the world, runs a 3.8 litre motor of exceptional horsepower. Some more horsepower than GT3.
Yeah.
With all the gadgets in the world. It's got a PDK gearbox. So, so you must say to yourself,
it's a tough sell.
It's a tough sell. You say to yourself, hang on, but I can buy the GTS for $1 million. Okay, maybe not a 2016, but you can buy a 2011, 2012 991 Gen 2 GTS. Fantastic car. Absolutely fantastic car. And in 2012, the last thing they brought out a Carrera 4 GTS,
Yeah.
But a magnificent motor vehicle. Beautiful, beautiful. And I think those in long term it's gonna hold, they're holding on. They were at 1.4, but they're sitting at 1 million. And I think long term they might come into themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, must I buy that car for 900? Oh, shit, but even me.
Yeah.
Even I would say, I'm going to go the GTS way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great car, the GT3, make no mistake. But then you must have the $1 million, which fell out your back pocket, and you quickly picked it up.
Yeah.
And then said, okay, I'll buy that and I'll put it in the garage and just stand there, And then, what are you going to do with it? I don't know. I've got it.
Yeah.
But it's nice to say I own it.
Yeah.
So, or you can, so that is what it is. And unfortunately, the GT3 Mark II, not the RS, unfortunately has not retained value like the others.
That's
for
interesting.
some stupid reason. I don't know why, but
just makes them great value cars now.
I mean, you can buy a Mark II GT3 for really good money, And people say, but the Mark I's better. Is it? I don't know. But, when you go 3 years later, you're obviously buying better technology.
Yes.
The automotive industry from the early 2000s have changed and evolved so fast that it's frightening.
Yeah.
It's frightening what happened. And then, of course, your older cars, they've come to settle down a bit, but they're still holding for more. I pity those guys who bought at the end. Because they, and the funny thing is, and I want to say, I know of at least one person, and there might be more, that's actually taken a bond, extended the bond in the house to buy one. Now, you're sitting with a car that's lost that money. It's lost 25% of its value.
Yeah, and I have data on it.
Yeah, so the fact of the matter is, if you hold on for another 6, 7, 8 years, we'll get back there. I'm not saying it'll never get there again.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it readjusted itself worldwide.
Yeah.
So people say, that car got on this auction in Monterey, and that value. But I mean, then you must actually go and look at the car and look at the quality and the quality of the car, the rarity of it, and its history and all those things. That all will make that top money. You can't just say, my car must be worth the same if your car's a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you now, and I'm going to say it, I'll say it over and over, we do not have people in this, we have good people in this country that works on Porsches and restore them, like the Abbotts and well, there's only one really. But none of them restore to the quality that you get in Europe or in America. We just don't have that.
Yeah.
We just don't have that, I don't know what it is, that feel and that texture in our hands and our minds. We spray them and put hooters in and then leave it. Restoration is an art.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it, you send your car to Europe or you send it to Britain. The best restoration is there. When it comes out, it is then
pristine.
It is then that money that they get at that auction in Monterey or wherever.
Yeah.
You understand?
And I feel if you have the money to buy these high-end Porsches, you are going to probably send it to the best places you can to restore, to repair. Or
look, it's not cheap, eh?
Yeah.
It's not cheap. It's Big Tom, and these last 2 years have hurt everybody in the economy. I don't care. Even the big collectors, they're all turning their tickies around, and they're all looking at their collection saying, "Oh, do I need another one? Maybe majority of them are thinking, maybe I should thin out a bit."
Yeah.
Which is what is happening. And it's not only for Porsches, whatever they collect, they're thinning out. Purely because the uncertainty in the economy creates a huge impact on that market of classic Porsches. So if you own one, you're going to go through. Look, at the 930 Turbo will always be a high ticket, but their pricing has also come down. I mean, they went into 2.5 million, these things.
Yes.
2.5 million rand. Now you look at 1.7, 1.6, but then again, the quality of the car, the overall quality. Mileage is neither here nor there, but the quality, and the engine, the service history, the books, the paperwork,
mechanical history,
all that stuff is so important. There mustn't even be a bug on the headlight lens.
Yeah.
Because then it's not good enough. We must get that mindset. If you want a top dollar, your car must be top dollar. Not what you think, but what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And we have some lovely, great cars in this country. We have some serious collectors that look after this stuff. And there are some serious cars out there that I must tell you, after 22 years, I don't even know of some of them.
Yeah.
Now I sort of still discover, I didn't know you have one of those.
Yeah. Something that is also interesting of modern day Porsche owners is that you get your hardcore collectors who keep their car in pristine condition, don't often drive them as much, but they really look after them, maintain them very well. And of course, those cars are the ones that increase in value.
Of course, yes.
But of course, you get your Porsche owners who drive them every day or every weekend, take care of them, but use them a lot more because of the good car it is.
Yeah, that's like owning and I'm using the word Mercedes-Benz, it could be anything. It's like, It's like your choices, let's go to the Panamera. You've got a Panamera here, I got an S500, and I got an Audi A8, and a BMW 745 or 750. That's your choice.
Yeah.
So if you have any of the other three, you're going to drive them on a daily basis. You're going to go to work with them. Whether you have a driver or drive yourself, you're going to go to work with them. Go to your office with them. You can do the same in the Panamera. As I said earlier, because the Porsches become such a user-friendly cars now, sports cars. So, what's better than getting out in the morning, getting in your Porsche and go to work?
Yeah.
It's like a friend of mine, he's a friend of mine now, said many, many, many years ago, he had a little 964, 92, 91. And he used to work in Tiger Valley area.
Yes.
He lived in the city. So every morning he drove out and every night afternoon. And he said to him, every time he got in the car and he turned the engine, it was like, and you're driving down, it's like a song in his heart. Twice a day, he says, I get that feeling, it's a song in my heart. That's
so
what
cool.
It feels like. And that is what it feels like. I've driven a lot of them. And over 21, 20 years, I've driven cars that I can't even remember. No, we was with Bloomsbury. We had also Lamborghini and
Ferrari.
I was there in the launch of the Murcielago. We actually went overseas.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, because we were the agents for them through Investment Cars Johannesburg. Also Rolls Royce, the Phantom came out. Yes, I was one of the first guys to drive a Phantom. I know if it was a brown one. It was supposed to be a so-called demo. We sold it the first day. I can't tell you, but it was even for those days, it was her. It was a shitload of money. Man, was a shitload of money. And, in my opinion, it was a looking car anyway. But, it's like driving a Rolls Royce or Bentley Continental GT, I'm telling you, your mindset and your whole being is just elevated and say, check this.
Yeah.
Check this out, eh?
Yeah.
Check this.
This is the real deal.
This is the real. You drive one of those, hang on. This is the ultimate things, because I mean it's just so classy, and it's just so built, and it's just something,
It's
just
not
something.
It's not the common type of luxury you get in a C class or E class.
No, none of that. Look, I've owned Mercedes Benzes, which I mean, look, I'm a huge Mercedes Benz fan, but I don't know anything about them. Just know what it says in the back. See this and see that.
Yes.
And I didn't see that or didn't see that. No. But the same, you get so there's Porsches now in modern times since '99 for everybody.
Yes.
Prior to that, it was only for the boys, and for those who can afford it.
Yes.
And then you had little tuners like the late Brian White, who was Mr. Turbo. I mean, that man turned the 930 Turbo into a monsters,
Yeah.
I mean, he built engines and stuff like that. He was a legend worldwide. Brian White, and he passed. So all that knowledge also disappeared from the old era. You're trying to say what you asked earlier. What was the changes?
Yes.
Yeah. So now in modern times, that knowledge is gone. Eh?
Yeah.
It's never been passed on. That's just such a shame. Really,
Yes.
It's a hell of a shame. These people that they go. I mean, you take the one of the legendary racing drivers South Africa, Peter Goff. Who built my first car, little 911 RSR replica called Jedi. Gone. All that knowledge. I mean, he was like,
not
crazy.
passed on.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, utter gentlemen. Both of them were great. And then many others that this goes away. So the people to maintain these old cars are getting less and less and less. And the new youngsters coming in, they're all professional. I know this and I know that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not so sure.
I see. So on a bit of...
Sorry?
No, sorry. You may go ahead.
Yeah, so, Porsche's made... And Toby Fenter, I must, give him his due. He's turned the brand into South Africa into a household number, where it was just an elitist thing. Sure, Porsche's always up there, Ferrari and the sports cars.
Yes.
That's what they are. But, with the dealerships now all over the country, done a great thing. It's a good thing for all of us. Sure, they're not really interested in clubs and old cars because, it's a business to make money.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, clubs don't make money for them, but, we support them.
Yes.
But that's neither here nor there. They're doing a great job out there in providing vehicles for a brand that can go out to everybody. And look, all new cars nowadays, I don't care, Porsche, Cayenne, they're expensive.
Yeah.
They're bloody expensive. I mean, the new what's the new Volkswagen GTI now cost? The new one, what's it?
Yes, the
900,000,
like almost
nearly 900,000 in.
Yeah.
For Volkswagen, really?
And a hatchback. That's unbelievable.
I mean, what are these smoking?
Yeah.
So they're all expensive. Whether you buy these things, but you buy Porsche, you buy something elevated to start with originally, just by saying the word.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah. So what do you drive? Porsche. Yeah, I drive a Porsche. You come to our club and say, you're a Porsche. I won't ask you. Someone will ask you, I said, which one? No, I got a 944 Turbo. Oh, okay. Because that's what I race with a 944 Turbo.
Okay. Very interesting.
Oh, and it's a great car. I'm a huge fan of the 944s. The transaxle. Let me get that right. Transaxle.
Transaxle.
Yes.
Well done.
Era.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, for those years, that era, the 944, the 924 and 944 saved Porsche from bankruptcy in those years.
That's unbelievable.
That's true. You can read it. It's not fake news. Because afterwards followed the 993, which nearly bankrupted the company because it was one of the most expensive models they've ever built. Because the development and the technology was just so far removed ahead from the 964.
Yeah.
And then came the 996 and the Boxster, and that pulled them out, saved them again. Because, look, the Boxster sold in the 996. Huge things. And they can call it, it's not actually a hairdresser's car, It's a hairstylist's car, you know what I'm saying? There's a big difference in a hairdresser and a hairstylist. So, fine, my wife is on the third one. They're like little cars. Yeah, they're good fun. And you can buy them, go around in Gumtree and all these places, and you can buy a good one for good money.
Yeah.
and you own a Porsche. You can buy them for less. You can buy a second-hand Golf GTI.
Then you have the badge.
Hey?
Yeah.
You have a proper little car. You have a Roadster, sure. Don't have kids. Of course, it's like, it's like a SLK, a Z4 or Z3. They're selfish cars. Don't have two seats.
Yeah. It's only the weekend driver.
Yeah, it's for yourself, If I always maintain if you're young, buy them. Because the minute you're married, the minute that ring goes on, that two-seater car, go, hey?
Yeah.
I want a new kitchen.
I'll take that into consideration.
I want a new kitchen. I used to say to guys, I'm going to go and discuss it with my wife. I said, just go home and tell her you'll give her a new kitchen. Yeah. And then she'll say, buy the car.
Yeah. So on a bit of a different note, I usually ask some guests to portray their ideal or dream 3-car garage, but there are 3 specific areas. So the one is it needs to be a daily driver. The other one needs to be a classic car, and the other one it needs to be your supercar or your super sports car. Your weekend driver, the hardcore one. So in those categories, what would be your ideal 3-car garage?
Let's start from a super. Many years ago, I always used to say the day I was walking with my little Zimmer frame, with the button on that opened the garages because I couldn't let go, of the Zimmer frame. And you walk down and there's your garages, and I want to open the first one. I want to see the arse of 993 twin turbo. That's a 96 993 twin turbo. The rear end of that.
Okay.
And the other garage is the Lamborghini. Oh, my memory fails me. Shows how old I got since I had
Countach,
those.
Diablo.
The Diablo.
Diablo.
Was a Diablo, and those walk, and then you walk past and you close them again. Sort of thing. Things change.
Yeah.
You not knowing what is yet to come.
Yes.
I mean that is like big time. So if I start at the top, I would have a 996 twin turbo.
996 twin turbo.
Yeah. And I would have that would be my serious toy.
Yes.
It's a bit more comfortable, and that's what I like. That's good. I think it's good, and because it's also good value for money. These modern things with the little this little small engine, 3-liter or 2-liter engine with the 2 turbos, doesn't do it for me. That big flat 6.
Yeah.
Metzger engine.
Screaming.
Beautiful, man. Stunning stuff. And then what is the middle one?
So daily driver, you got supercar, so now you have to have a classic car.
I'll have a classic car. I'll have a 944 turbo, 250 horsepower, only made in 1 year, 1989. Great car.
So out of all the classic Porsches, that would be...
That's what I would be.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit cheapskate, but
no.
You leave it to me.
It's your garage.
It's my garage. My daily drive will definitely be a Cayenne GTS.
Cayenne GTS.
From 2014, 2015, last of the big V8s.
Oh, so that...
It's got to be a V8. Yeah. 4.8-liter V8 GTS. Man, it's nothing like it.
So not the newest Cayenne there?
No. But Porsche bringing out now, it's coming out in January. Yeah. Okay. It'll be the last V8 ever out of Stuttgart or Leipzig,
sure.
Germany.
Yes.
A Cayenne GTS.
Cayenne GTS.
Yes, the last ever, because there's no more V8s in Europe as from end of 22, I think, isn't it? Yes.
And in end of 2030 is like no more petrol cars.
No petrol cars. No more diesel. No, diesel's end of 2024. Okay. Which is a pity because that V6, that 3-liter V6 TDI engine
yes.
that Volkswagen uses. You saw me arrive in
yes.
the Touareg. Oh, what an engine.
Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant engine. Absolutely fantastic engine. That'll also be gone. Hopefully they'll keep on dumping it into Africa and Australia because our emission control
not yet where they are,
non-existent.
Yeah.
Non-existent. So good for us. V8s. But for as long as there are no trees in those boreholes, they pump the oil out of.
Yeah.
We drive petrol cars. Yeah.
I agree.
Electricity is for stoves and washing machines. And
for
sewing machines. Yeah, and that kind of fridges and deep freezers, to make ice for your drinks.
Microwaves to warm your coffee.
So yeah, that's my feeling, and that'll be my daily outings.
Okay.
Porsche, I think so.
Okay. I like the garage. Very cool. Very simple.
Yeah, it's classic and nothing new. So I said, the 996 twin turbo, big car, but you have a bit of work done to it. Comes 500 horsepower on the wheels.
Yeah.
Magic. That's 300k car. Even in today's market, a standard 996 twin turbo. You can play around with these modern little McLaren, these flat things, so these surfboards. Take them on open road, and you'll still give them a run for their money, because that from 2002, 2003 is still a 300k car. You can still do it if you find the roads. You can still do it.
Yeah.
You still give them shit because it's all-wheel drive. It's actually amazing, and it's a great car to drive. Really.
Yeah.
Great. The interior is a bit shit, but I mean,
you can always
then again,
do what you want.
They've got seats. But I mean, if you sit in a seat, you can't see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I always just say, people say, "Oh no, I don't like the lights." I said, "What? Park the car in the garage and approach the car from the rear. Open the door, get in, and you don't see the lights."
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
You just drive and enjoy.
Just drive and enjoy. Forget the lights. As long as they go on when it's dark.
Yeah.
So if you don't like the lights, don't approach the car from the front.
There we go. Problem solved. I don't know why people struggle with this. Anyway, Lourens, I really want to thank you.
No, it's a pleasure. It was lekker,
It was such an enjoyable conversation. I just realized that I've...
Thank you. Thank you to all of you.
I just
support the man here.
Oh, thank you very much.
He doesn't know much, but support him anyway.
That's what I wanted to say. I just realized I know nothing, actually, in comparison.
Listen, I can carry on for days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so it was such a good conversation. It's so much more I'm going to ask behind the camera, but I want to thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do the effort to share. Really, it's all about like sharing the love for cars, sharing the passion we have, and getting more people to own Porsches, because I mean, it's the best car brand you get.
No, I would say own the car you like is like wine.
It's like wine.
Yeah. You must drink this one because it's got mulberry and cocoa.
Yes.
All the on your, I can never taste that.
Just drink the wine
you like.
Okay.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I usually say at the end of a podcast that, rather love cars because it's better than loving drugs. And yeah.
Good point.
All right.
I like it.
Have a good one.
Take it easy.